Whilst junior doctors are asking for £19 an hour, the very MPs denying them of this opportunity are asking for upwards of £1,500 an hour. Of course, these are deeply corrupt politicians. I mean, for God's sake, who has a wine bottle behind them when conducting a supposedly very important interview? But the problem runs much deeper than that. Let me explain. If you haven't heard already, an organisation called Led by Donkeys framed MPs such as Matt Hancock and Kwasi Kwarteng in asking them to work for a South Korean consulting company that didn't exist, and in response they asked for over £1,500 an hour for their services. Obviously the company is fake and they didn't actually end up working for this company, but it raises important questions. Should MPs have second jobs? And if they do have second jobs, should they align with foreign companies? But I've got a much deeper question than that. What about their constituents? What about the people that they were elected to represent? Not just those that voted for them, but those in their constituency. Whilst Kwasi Kwarteng and Matt Hancock and many other MPs are on upwards of £83,000 a year, their constituents are likely freezing to death, starving, and wondering about where the next paycheck is coming through. And instead of helping them with these issues, instead of fighting against the government ensuring that the welfare of their constituents are guaranteed, instead they're out here trying to make a quick buck. Why is that? These MPs simply prefer to work for a company rather than their constituents because it's much easier for them to do so. You see, the way the UK political system works is that you either toe the party political line, which is starving people and freezing people to death with rocketing energy bills and rocketing food bills, or you risk leaving your political party, being kicked out for voting against some of these measures, and potentially not having a job when the next election comes around. So when they're taking up second jobs, it's not only because they're corrupt individuals, it's also because they simply don't know what else to do with their time, because they're not exactly going to come up with solutions to government policy that's hurting people, because the very government that's doing that is the government that's giving them a job. Simply put, these MPs aren't elected to represent you. They're elected to represent the interests of their government and the interests of the ruling class in turn. If we had a new democracy, a different one that looked after your interests instead of the interests of the ruling class, maybe this would be different. And I'll promise you the media won't cover this the way we're covering it. So be sure to subscribe to the channel and watch this video on how the media is also being a bit cowardly on the whole refugee issue.